to this point, we've discussed different functions that you can use with the stats command. So for example, we've seen how you can use the count function, the distinct count function, the sum function, the average function, the list function, the values function, and so on. But now we've seen how we can individually use these functions with the stats command. Let's now suppose that in a practical case, you wanted to generate a table for each partner. You wanted that in this table, you have the total count of events per partner, events with zip code per partner, number of zip codes, total call time, average call time on a single table. So how are you going to do that? If you use the functions the way that we've been using them, then it means that you're going to have to generate multiple tables. But there is a way that you can combine all these functions into one command. So Splunk allows you to combine multiple statistics functions that are associated with the stats command into a single table. And that's what we're doing here. So now we are using the stats command. We are taking the count of all events as total count. We're taking the count of zip codes as events that have zip codes. We're taking the distinct count, and then we call it number of zip codes. We sum the duration across all events and call it the total call time, the average duration across, and we call it average call time. And at the end, we use a by clause. So that by clause that we're using is going to apply to all the stats functions that you have in the command. So we're going to say by partner, which means that it's going to get all these values that we just highlighted, and it's going to split by partner. Now, in the second or in the third line here, we are just basically using the toString and then the round functions that we sorted out with scope of the Splunk Core Certified User course, but we're just going to use it to make our values look more meaningful. So ultimately, what that happens is it's going to generate a stats table like this for you. So these are common tables that you're going to see a lot if you work in an organization. There are times that you might probably want to, generate statistics tables that are going to have some detail, maybe for your management or for your leadership and things like that, create reports with it and that kind of stuff. So this becomes very, very important. So in our demonstration here, we are going to be using stats functions, and then we're going to group by partner for the last 4 hours. So the first one, we're going to count all events and call it total events. We are going to count all events with zip code and call it total events with zip code. We're going to, count the unique count of zip codes as number of zip codes. And then we're going to get the total duration as total call time, average duration as average call time. And then ultimately, we're going to convert the total call time to hours, minutes, and seconds, and also round the average duration to a precision of 2. So now we are back to our instance of Splunk. Let's see how we can actually combine those functions. So we're going to start by reading from our event gen source type again. So index equals main, source type equals event gen, and exercise is 4 hours. So let's just go back to the last 4 hours. Okay, so it now says that we should get the count of all events, and then we call it total events. So that's the thing. Now we are combining. We can go and do our stats count as total events. You see that it gives us total events in the last 4 hours, says that we have like 70,118 events in the last 4 hours. Now, this is what we've been doing so far. But now we say that we can actually combine all these functions into one command. So I can go ahead now and say I wanted to get the count of all events that have a zip code associated with them. I can put a comma or not, it still works. So I do count of zip code. So I'm looking at all events that have a zip code here. Remember, we already said that when you use the count function with this, that's what it means. And then we said that we can rename it as well. So I'm going to call this the exercise says we give it total events with zip code. So I'm going to say total events with zip code. Okay, I run this. So you now see that the stats table there has 2 values. So it actually now has your total events, and then of course it has total events with zip code. This number is exactly the same. Why? Because all the events in your data set have a zip code associated with them. The next one here says unique number of zip codes as number of zip codes. So now you are not counting all events that have the zip codes. You're looking for the unique number of zip codes. So that in that case, it means you are going to use the distinct count function, which we already saw. So you can do distinct count of zip code, and then we call it, what does the exercise say? It says number of zip codes. So this is a number of different zip codes. So something like this. So this is what it's going to give you. Now you see that even though 70,321, remember the event count keeps changing because the event generated data is coming in as we're working. And then on the number of zip codes here, we have 9,465, because even though zip codes are on this event, but if you look at the unique number of different zip codes that you have, it's 9,465. Okay, so we have that, but we also said that we can use the distinct count as just DC. So if we reduce this to just DC, you see that it's going to work as well. Now the exercise requires that we should get a total duration and call it total call time. So now we're just going to go here again, and then we say sum of duration as total call time, because this one has no spaces. We don't need to put it in double quotes. So it now says generating, and this is what you have. This is a total duration. All these stats that we are getting is for all the events that we are pulling in the last 4 hours. We are not really breaking it down or grouping it by anything. So you see it's saying that we have like 194,625 seconds with a millisecond fraction there. And then it also says we should get the average. So we can also go ahead and say average of duration as, and then we say average AVG call time, and then we run it. To see that it also gives us the average call time here. So we were doing this before individually. You see that we are combining everything now on a single table. And this can be very important. So you wanted to get some kind of stats like this and share. Putting everything on the table makes more meaning. Now, let's suppose that we wanted all these values, but we wanted to group it by partner. Or maybe we wanted to group it by node name. So let's say, for example, that you group by node name. So you see that it's going to be giving you all the statistics now, but it's going to split it or group it by the different node names that you have in your data set, which are host 01 to host 010. So this is just an example. The exercise in itself say that we should group it by partner. So I'm just going to put the partner field here. And then it's going to get all those for us and group it by partner. So you now see the way the table is being organized, and maybe this is something that your leadership or management was interested in seeing, that you can just pull this table and send. You can do a scheduled report or something of that nature, that you can pull these kind of stats. Now, you also see that the times here have no meaning really. So it's just a bunch of seconds. When somebody looks at this, it's going to be pretty confusing. But if they start looking at it in terms of hours, minutes, and seconds, it makes more sense. And then the average call time here, why do we have this very high precision? We have seen how we can deal with this before. So we're just going to do that here. But again, as we said, it's out of the scope of the Splunk Core Certified User course, but we just do it here in order to, kind of transform our statistics table to look much better. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use the eval command, and then I'm going to say I want to format the total call time. Which is what we have here. Then I'm going to say that I want to use the toString function. And then I'm going to put the total call time. I use the duration option with it, so that it breaks it down into hours, minutes, and seconds for me. But then you see that it does that. This is 11 hours, 7 minutes, 16 seconds. Then it puts that millisecond fraction again at the end. So it's saying 16.837 seconds, 37 point that. And let's suppose that you didn't want to see that millisecond there. We use the round function to round it down to an integer. So I could go to line 3, use the round function on the total call time. Then I take that and put here. But I can also do this. I can just come in here and round this first. So it means that it's going to round the total call time down to an integer before it uses the toString function. I keep saying round down. It's going to round it to the nearest integer, sorry. And then it's going to use the toString function on it. So if I run this now, you are going to see that that millisecond fraction is gone. So if somebody is actually looking at this table now, it makes more sense. Oh, partner one for the last 4 hours had up to 11 hours of calls. Partner 4 had 16 hours. Partner 7 had 9 hours. And so it makes sense now. Okay, the same thing with the duration here. You don't want to see all this high precision. You maybe just wanted to see the precision of 2. I can go down here and create another eval command for that, but then I can put all this within the same eval command as well. So what I can say here is that I'm going to take the average call time, and then I'm going to round it to a precision of 2 as the exercise requires. So I'm just going to round it and then put 2 here. Then now it's going to override this field now and include the new average call time that is rounded to a precision of 2. So you see now that this is a table that makes much sense if you are going to share this out. So that's how you can actually combine different stats functions within the same stats command.